do we deal with haunted portraits?
I don't know.
We break them.
Burn them.
Talk to them.
That's so good.
That was a very good character moment.
Greetings, mortals, and welcome to another episode of Canticle of the Crimson Wake, our Blades in the Dark actual play podcast. This is within the parent podcast of the Tabletop Sandbox podcast, of course. This is episode 13, and the title is probably Find Wife.
Yep.
Probably, yeah. Because that's just become the meme.
Find wife.
Find wife.
Find wife.
Find wife. Find wife.
Find wife. Find wife. Find wife.
Find wife. That's actually the next ritual. I had Latin for the other one. This one, you're just going to like walk down the steps into a ritual chamber and just hear, find wife. Just chanted over and over and over.
Oh, speaking of rituals, I got my ritual feat.
Oh, yeah, you do.
What was in that book?
What would you like it to be? You get to choose one.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know if I have anything in mind specifically yet, so I'll think about it.
Mm-hmm. So we rolled our engagement roll last time, so we are just going to jump right into this score. You have scouted it out, you have learned information, you have made a contact that is going to make it easy for you to get in. But you finally all come and see for the first time the exterior of Kenley House, crossing over a thin bridge. Thin as in like 10 or 20 feet across rather than, 50 or 100 feet across. And you see this imperious pale stone mansion surrounded by an electrical fence, breached only by a large gate in the middle that is formed by two like towers of electrical coils that has a wall of lightning that spans between them, and that functions as the main gate. You see that the rectangular building is 2 and 3 stories tall in some parts, and there are occasional balconies upon which stand armored guards wielding rifles. Around the grounds, there are 2-man patrols that walk in orderly formations. The fence reaches around 3 sides of it, and at the back of the house, there is a steep drop-off down a rocky cliff and into a fork of the Dosk River below that is littered with sharp rocks. A deadly fall if someone were to accidentally make it. There are a few outbuildings, including a shed, which the Stanchik sisters have their eyes on. As you approach, it is nerve-wracking because the surrounding streets are well lit and you know that there are periodic bluecoat patrols. And these are not your average bluecoats of crow's foot. These are groups of a dozen bluecoats marching in unison, wearing the finest armor and wielding gleaming gun pikes. Because that is the level of security that the people of Brightstone expect from the city. We see 2 groups on either side of the manse. On one side of the fence, there is a excited and sheepish looking Arvis Brown leading a pair of Stanchik sisters, now both with platinum blonde hair, to a part of the fence where there's kind of like a pillar where you can actually climb up it and not worry about stabbing yourself on the top of the fence. On the other side, a massive hulking Skovlander and a petite but fearsome Whisper lead a group of killers led by Crick and a pair of slightly beaten and bruised but very much bloodthirsty Skovlanders. These are, in fact, the 2 of Ulf's guys from the fight.
Good.
Let's go.
And they already look rough, like, cut under the eye and black eyes and everything like that. But they're healed up enough to be effective. 2 groups, one very small, but of fighters that join with you. And they both approach either side of the gate, of the fence, rather. on both sides of this mansion. And you wait as you hear the humming electricity. You know that if anyone were to touch it, it would mean sudden death. And you're able to spy, hidden in the shadows nearby the gate, maybe in some shrubbery on the street, a couple carriages that pull up in front of the house, and figures, their identities covered by hoods over their heads, and a few swaying medallions swinging out from underneath. Step out of these carriages and gather in front of this electrical gate, giving it a wide berth just to be safe. And once all of them have assembled, and the lightning that forms the gate dissipates. And as these hooded figures walk through, your two groups climb over the gate, going as quickly as possible, and the last Skovlander kind of roughly jumps down just as and the electricity returns. Your group of three goes over much quicker, and you are being led by this guard, Arvis, toward a shed that is supposed to contain a hull, something that you may have seen in passing. You, I believe, saw one in Charter Hall, but you've never had, well, I'm not going to say that actually. You may have had interactions with them, but you certainly haven't seen one like this, as he leads you into this relatively cramped shed, not because it's necessarily super small, but because most of the main body of it, it's more like a garage, is taken up by this massive mechanical entity. As you slip through the back door after avoiding the guard patrols that Arvis knows their pattern, you slip in and he turns on a lantern to illuminate one side of this massive metal being. And you see it is this kind of squat, wide, I think I might have said it was bipedal before, but I'm going to say it has 4 legs. This clockwork and sparkcraft entity that you see at the very center, hidden underneath armor. There's a faint aquamarine glow of the spirit vessel that holds the creature that powers this entity. But currently it has been given the instruction to lay idle in wait. You see that there is a long arm, not so much humanoid, but more robotic, that has a 3-fingered claw on the end of it. And there is another that has a group of about a dozen barrels on it that appears to be a rotating gun. And as the killers are slipping in, do you send Sebastian ahead to attempt to slip one of the guards or give one of the guards a whiff of rage essence? So make sure you check that off because you have brought it. Does it count as a load or is it an up to Alex? Cool. But it has been used now.
Yes.
And I'm going to roll 2 dice because that's Sebastian's tier as he tries to sneak up and get one of the guards to take this. That is a 4.
Okay.
He slips ahead and you slow your approach as you are moving towards the back entrance of this facility. And while that is happening, Arvis kind of moves the lantern back and forth and begins to attempt to explain what the heck is going on here while not knowing hardly anything about Sparkcraft. What do the sisters Stanchik do?
I try not to correct him with whatever I do actually know because I'm trying to play dumb, but I'm like every time he says something wrong. Do we want to knock him out or something and try to take this thing over? Or get as much information from him as we can?
Yeah, that sounds good. Get as much information.
So, how do you, start this thing? Theoretically. Obviously, we're not going to do that.
I mean, it can be commanded by somebody with clearance.
Okay. So it's sentient?
I mean, I think kind of. There is a spirit in there.
Shit.
It follows
really
orders.
Cool.
That's what that green glow in the center is.
Oh, yeah. You're like so smart.
Yeah, I mean, I've studied it a little bit. I thought about going into Sparkcraft.
Cool.
Yeah, and then this over here is the gun, and there's 12 barrels, and each one of those can shoot a bullet.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Like, how much damage and destruction could that cause?
Like a lot.
Like,
you like 12 bullets? That's a lot.
Wow.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
How fast can it go? Like,
I mean, I assume pretty fast, right?
Okay.
I've never seen it in action, but
Interesting.
So who's in charge? Like, who does it? Like, because is it you? You do it?
You seem to know a lot about it.
I mean, maybe one day, pretty soon, I'll be somebody with clearance to kind of command the hull. But it's kind of up to Captain Landon, who has clearance. I'm not sure how the spirit knows who he decides to has clearance for the time being. But, he'll probably pick me pretty soon. Mm-hmm. So you're looking at somebody who is maybe going to be in control of Hull in the near future.
Oh my God. So you seem really smart. I don't know if you know anything about this, but like I've been carrying around this stuff for a while, and like I just wondered if you knew anything about it.
What are you going to roll to convince him to kind of come over and convince him that you're not about to drug him?
Consort? Do we have an established relationship?
I don't think you do, because consort is more like with contacts. This guy is a horny teenager.
Okay.
Here, like, let me see that. What? Wow.
We could have just said that it was Yagoda that did it.
Yeah, never mind.
I will sway.
Then I won't use it.
Yeah, and I'll give you an extra die because of the work you put in already.
Very brilliant. Oop.
4. It succeeds.
That's good. It's a 6.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I saw 2 1s and I was like, ooh.
It's bad. But.
So he just kind of like, he's like moving over and he's like poking at a bit of it. And like you're pretty sure this is the closest he's ever been to this thing. Like he's never been in here. And so he's checking it out too while he's trying to explain it. And then when you're like, oh, will you come over here and tell me what this chemical is? He's just like, oh, she's making a move. And so you see him just kind of like look over and then just like swagger over. And he's like,
fucking idiot.
Sure, let me take a look. And then he just, And then you barely even have to, because he kind of like leans his face down into it, and you're just like, and it's just like up into his face, and he goes, yeah, that's, and then just kind of like, I don't know if he passes out, but he just goes into like a trance, because it's trance powder, right?
Yeah.
So mark off your use of trance powder, but he's like, oh yeah, I know what that's. And then just goes blank.
He's totally imagining having a threesome.
Oh yeah, he totally is. That's fine.
The scene just continues how he thought it was going to go.
This was the nicest way that we could have handled this guy.
Just drooling and smiling.
Yes. Okay, so anyway,
we don't know how long he's gonna stay knocked out, right?
Yeah, so we got to move fast.
Or we can like just go tie him up and put him in the corner.
Good idea. You go do that. I'm gonna try to figure this thing out.
I'll mark off whatever, like the climbing gear or whatever for the rope.
Yeah.
You don't have just 50 feet of hempen rope in your inventory.
That means I don't have any. That's 2.
That would be 2 if you have the.
Oh, but the trance powder is none because it's not cast. Okay, so we're good. I can still.
Sure. And what are you rolling, Tony, to try and make sense of
this? Can I study it?
Well, flashback.
Sure.
Or wait, see if I need a flashback. I don't want to waste the stress. I don't have a lot of space, so I would like to study it, figure out what powers it. What powers it on, at least. How I could possibly take control. I don't know. If that's not study, I'll try something else.
It kind of has, because what technically powers it is the spirit inside of it. Okay. The electroplasmic energy of the spirit that's kind of trapped within it. You'd be more searching for like, oh, okay, how do I activate this? Yep. And what goes on here? Yep. I think this... you could definitely go with study.
Okay.
Yeah. Push yourself.
No, I don't have it.
Yeah, you do.
Not if I'm going to take a flashback at some point. 5.
All right.
I think that the consequence for this is just going to be time, because you're in a controlled position for standard effect.
Yep.
So you are in the process of studying it, and you will determine how it is activated. Mm-hmm. But while that is happening, let's switch back to our other group. You see Sebastian Halfhand kind of moves back in and just kind of appears next to you, Kavlov. Now that you're inside this lair, surprisingly, not that many lights. They don't want to illuminate the secret meetings that are happening, and so there's just enough lights to kind of be safe. But out in like the yard where you are off to the side, and you hear kind of the river moving down below, far off to the side, because off to your right, there's just all open cliff. And you can see the lightning barrier kind of shining and sparking in the distance. Yeah. But he just kind of moves up next to you, and he got a 4. Yeah, I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move you guys. I'm actually going to move everybody down to risky position.
Okay.
Because we're getting into it now.
That's fair.
Or here. Because he's out there, he would have to make the decision himself. So what he does is he kind of shifts everything into a risky position. And he says, I couldn't give it right to somebody. So what I did is there's a flask left on a table, and I emptied out the booze and I kind of funneled the rage essence into it. And so we're just kind of waiting for that bomb to go off.
All right.
I don't know when the next time somebody's going to open that flask is, but...
All right, well, if you're confident enough to stay hidden while in here, if you could try and find these hooded guys, that'd be very helpful. If you can't, start stealing stuff. But I don't expect you to fight in this.
I don't like fighting. Don't mind killing, but I don't like fighting.
Sure. Do what you do.
Sure. Then you all just kind of sit there and wait on the edge of the light as you see there are some guards that are patrolling around, and you see that it just so happens that a pair of guards, because they're always moving in twos as they're patrolling, one of them is approaching and is not like in danger of seeing you guys, but there are guards near when you all of a sudden hear just a and then there's like the sound of breaking glass and thud of a table, and then you hear a rifle go off, and those guards kind of see that and they run, and it happens so that this is fairly close to the back door, and you're able to kind of peek out and you see that where there were some guards kind of sitting at a table taking a break when they're not doing their patrols, that was where the flask was.
All right, boys. If you see a gun, take cover. Otherwise, stick together and have some fun.
Are we going loud?
We're going loud.
All right. And then you see Crick kind of pull a pistol in one hand and like twirl out his sawed-off shotgun in the other.
That's so
And he's
sick.
like, let's go, boys. Yeah, I think the Skovlanders, like one of them raises like an old beaten up bolt action rifle, and as the guards are going over there and this one guy is shooting at his friend who's like crab walking on the ground away from him, this Skovlander just takes a shot at one of the guards there, and I'm going to make the first roll. They are tier 0 because they're beaten up and there's only 2 of them. So I'm going to make the first roll. Would you like to command them or lead a group action or roll the appropriate action with them?
Well, I was trying to play that speech or whatever Kevlar was giving as like a command to attack. Sure. We're going loud.
Actually,
stick together, like giving them a bit of strategy as we're going in, but trying to keep it together, and he's going to lead them going forward.
Go ahead and roll command.
Okay, I think this is rather important, so I'm going to push myself on this to roll 3.
You got this.
That's a 5.
Ooh, good.
Okay, so these guards are tier 2.
Okay.
2 higher than the Skovlanders, which means that the Skovlanders would drop from standard effect to limited effect to no effect. And your cohort of Crick's killers drop from standard effect to limited effect.
But with this leader ability, the cohorts I command gain 1 effect and armor.
Cool. So instead of having no effect and limited effect, they will have limited effect and standard effect. Okay, cool. And then basically I have a progress clock for the guards on the exterior of this compound, basically, and I'm going to roll for both cohorts, and if you would like to roll, because you are participating,
Yes.
an action, you may do that too.
I believe this would be skirmish for...
It could be if you wanted it to be.
I think so.
Yeah, if
but-
you're rushing in and you're fighting right up in the nitty-gritty, absolutely.
Yeah, I think... Yeah, you know what? Right now, I'll say Kavlov has his hammer, his fine, heavy weapon.
Nice.
His,
Let's go.
So you are so there's like a volley of gunfire that goes off. The Skovlanders raise their rifles. They're rolling 0 dice because they're a 0 tier. So that's a 1. So they are going to fail and have no effect
Okay.
because they would have limited effect. So it would be like only 1 tick, but because they get even less than that, it's 0.
Yep.
The killers that work with Crick. Are tier 2. Oh no, they're tier 1.
Tier 1. Yeah.
They're tier 1 because you guys are tier 1. So that's a 3.
Jeez, these guys are sucking.
So
Oh no.
they're only going to get 1 tick on these guards, and then you could make some progress here as you jump in. So the initial volley goes a little wild, as everybody here is a little excited.
Yes.
Oh,
A 6.
A
saw
6.
A 6.
Okay, so as you kind of lead the charge, and this group has never fought all together like this before.
Yeah.
Crick's guys have fought together, and some of them may have fought with you in that one specific occasion.
Sure.
But that was one time, and that was kind of impromptu, and it just worked. You do 3 ticks. And so
Let's go.
that's a total of 4 out of the 8 clock of the outer guards. So this isn't just this initial group of 4 guards.
Yeah.
What happens is you guys rush in, and the guys with pistols and shotguns rush up. The Skovlanders start using their old rifles to take pot shots at the guys who are on the balconies, and you basically start a war. And you are winning. And let's see, but both of them failed, so they're going to take harm.
Oh no.
They each have 2 armor.
Yes.
Because of that. So they would take each take 1 harm and be weakened and have reduced effect. Unless are you checking off armor for them?
Cool.
But yeah, you are kind of fighting your way through these guards here. Do you want to continue to fight through them, or are you going to try and fight past them into the back door?
Well, I'm curious as to what Spark's doing off of this.
Yeah,
initial thing.
yeah, that's right. Kavlov is kind of leading these beefcakes. What's Spark up to?
Spark's gonna do the same thing she did when she's not like a front fighter, so she'll keep like an eye on the perimeter. Is there anyone like coming from our sides?
Yeah, there are reinforcements of guard patrols. So you guys encountered this initial group of like 4, and then a couple more showed up, and they're like engaging them, and they're taking cover around the sides of the house and taking shots. And the Skovlanders are actually holding back so they can get angles on the guy on the balconies. But yeah, there are more guards approaching. You have taken out a good number of them, but there are more coming.
If that's the case, is our goal to kill or get inside?
Get inside.
If that's the case, Spark will... I think this might be the first time you're seeing her do this, but use Roaring Winds. And so she'll use it to like push them like backwards and away, like as hard as she can.
Cool.
Okay.
That's cool. Into the electric
Do
fence.
you just take stress and do that?
It says, I push myself. So I just do that.
Okay.
Cool.
This is Devil's Bargain. If you roll a tune, I will count a 6 as a crit, and you'll get like additional effect.
All right, boys.
But there's also the potential for you suffering a consequence. If you just keep it as is, there's no potential for a
Do I
consequence.
do it? Well, this is pretty early on. Do I do it? I say I do it because we need to get inside.
Okay.
And I don't want to like wait too long to get inside.
Do it.
YOLO.
Okay.
You got this.
Oh, that was so bad. That was really bad. That was...
Snake eyes.
So what I'm doing
Yeah.
is I said I would count a 6 as a crit, but what I should mean is that I will give you additional effect.
Okay.
So that counts as a 4 to 5.
Sweet.
Right? That counts as like a partial success.
Sure.
Or like
Okay.
that's the way I'm running it right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, you see people approaching from one direction, and then you kind of call down this wind. Well, why don't you describe? You're summoning wind, not lightning. So how is that different from you?
You usually see her pull the lightning from the sky, but it's different this time around because she lifts her hand, but instead of going straight down, she goes from her left side. She puts her her right hand to her left side, and she swipes across almost like effortlessly. And then a moment after, does it just like blow from where she's standing.
Yeah, you actually kind of like almost hear a disturbance in the dark night air, and then the wind arrives, and it's kind of like like a storm front, and you see it becomes like hurricane level winds, and you see that these guards who are like running to the rescue all of a sudden like slow down and stop and like are fighting against the wind, and then you see them go like tumbling backwards, and they are definitely pushed back. And so I'm going to give you...
Do any of them fly into the electric fence?
Or over the cliff.
Yeah, I think one or two of them
Let's go.
go over the cliff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like
made them
you kind
fly.
of see them coming around, and you're like, oh no, and then you kind of just reach and swipe this wind, and so
Oh no. Oops.
Kavlov and the cohorts are kind of on the back edge of the house, and so they're sheltered from this wind by the house, and you just kind of bring it past the house, and this pair of guards that's running up, you see them kind of stop, fight against the wind, and then just get knocked off their feet, and they go flying like 20 feet, tumbling across the ground, and then you see one of them just kind of scrape on the ground before they both just go over the edge, and you hear just screams, ah! I'm gonna give you another 2 ticks on that clock. Cutting over, Yagoda, you are watching as Tony is just climbing all over this thing, looking in different places and studying it. You see she's making notes, maybe like on her arm, and trying to figure out how this thing would be activated. And as she's still doing that, you hear gunfire erupt and screaming, and it just continues, and then there's the sound of a wind that kind of like rattles the shed that you're in, and you're like, oh, it's going on out there, huh? And Tony's just still working.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna peek like outside the door and like just get a gander at what's going on if anybody's coming to the shed.
That sounds like survey to me.
Sure.
Go ahead and roll survey.
Survey.
Sure, babe.
Survey, I'll survey.
Oh.
Oof.
What?
Lots of ones.
It's dark outside.
Yeah.
You hear lots of gunfire.
Yeah.
It's super windy and your hair gets messed up. So you're
Level
busy
1 harm,
fixing your hair.
stubbed toe.
Level 1 harm doesn't look good.
That's level
Yeah.
3 harm.
I can't go
You need
on.
help.
I fixed
I
your hair.
think-
Then you
Hassled.
feel better.
All the gunfire has notified somebody.
Yep.
And you like touch something, Tony, and then you hear this kind of hull start to spin up, and you're like, oh, did I do something? And then you realize, oh no, that's gunfire I'm hearing. This thing has been activated. And then you see kind of the
Can you get on top of it?
the garage door is like
Ride it in.
rising as this thing is kind of like standing up, and you see that it's going through like startup diagnostics, and you see that like the gun barrel's like like calibrating, and the claw just got and there's this like basically this tank that is being activated and is about to rush out into the grounds. What do you do?
Get on top of it.
Yeah.
We're riding this motherfucker in, whether it's with us or not.
Is that what Tony does?
I was kind of already climbing all over it, so
Sure.
like, so I figured
You're like on
somewhere-
top of it, and then
Yeah.
the arm just starts to move, and you're
And I'm
grasping
like,
oh no.
I'll pull you up.
Yeah, I'll get up.
Okay.
Yeah. So you both
This was a bad idea.
Oh no.
jump
idea.
on top of this hull,
I'm so
and
susceptible
it
to
begins to like move out
Okay.
into the grounds.
Yep,
And you see that you're like standing on top of it, in between kind of the gun arm and the claw.
Yep,
and
yep.
you see that kind of rising out of it, there's this little like ocular receptor that is like a camera that is like moving, and it has not turned to face you yet.
Okay.
And apparently this thing doesn't necessarily have sensation, or it's just too big to notice as you are kind of clinging onto the top of it. But it does look like it could definitely swivel around and see you at any second.
Okay.
And I think at this point is when Tony does see something. Oh, I think it's on the back of the the ocular thing. You see,
that makes sense.
as it kind of appears from a panel,
Like the
you
actual-
see that there's a panel on the back of this like eye that you're like, oh no, that's definitely it. That's
Okay.
kind of where the brain of this thing
Okay.
is.
It's like a computer. Okay.
Don't pull.
Oh, there's a big red button I'm about to push. Okay.
do it
so
quick.
I see that like whatever panel this is, could I could either take control of it or try to shut it down. What's the option here?
Take control.
Take control. Okay. Is there a way I can switch its, we know that somebody else is commanding it. Is there some way I could switch that over to me?
You can certainly try.
Okay.
What action would you like to roll?
Tinker?
It sounds like Tinker to me.
I'm gonna help you out
Thank you.
by looking at it with you and
Holding the flashlight.
Yeah, holding the flashlight. Essentially,
Okay.
I'm gonna assist.
Where's
Okay.
that flashback?
You could
guys
you could
have
hold
for
it
this?
still.
I don't
I have
know.
no idea.
If I, once again,
you
I'm,
can.
It could be a flashback to like listening to one of your mom's lectures
Yeah.
about Sparkcraft.
and then I
That's
just
how you could help you go.
automatically
Yeah.
know how to do it.
I have an idea, and it's more story based than it would be like I'm just going to give you something, but it will like confirm that you know how to do this.
Okay. Do I need a flashback to do that?
Yeah, it would be a flashback to kind of give yourself this idea. And
Okay.
this isn't how you typically do it, but I'm going to kind
Okay.
of narrate it.
All right, I'll do it.
I think in order for Yagoda to be able to help and assist in this, you would also have to take this flashback. So you would each be taking one stress.
Okay.
Chilling.
Easy
Will I take 2 then? Because I'm assisting her. Like,
as well.
Yeah, so the assist
Yeah.
would take another stress. So we flash back to you guys back in the days when you were students, and your mother was excited that you might possibly be interested in Sparkcraft. She's basically does a home lecture about it, and you learn a little bit about holes, and you're just kind of like racking your brain for any useful knowledge. And you flash back to your mother giving a lecture about how every spirit has a specific kind of resonant frequency. And the way that holes are often controlled is, one, they do understand words. The little bit of humanity that is left in that spirit, it makes it possible for them to understand. So you don't actually have to like program a motherboard. You know, there's a brain in there because it's a
Yeah,
human brain.
so there's a spirit
but
there.
basically, there is this key to each specific spirit, and it can be attuned within a specific hull to use that frequency to signify certain things to this spirit. And so what that kind of would do is, you imagine that how this this hull is controlled is that whoever is allowed to give it commands is given this Sparkcraft pendant or band or something that has this ability to emit this specific frequency that is trained to this hull, and thus the Sparkcraft creation hones in on that and is like, okay, that's boss.
Gotcha.
Do what this person says because they have the right frequency.
Okay.
You do not have that device.
No, we do not.
And as you pop this open and you're like, what was about the thing that mom said about the, and you're kind of talking about and you are realizing that you have to figure out this
Resonance.
hull's resonance,
Okay.
and then find some way to replicate
Okay.
that to command it. Or maybe you could even use its own resonance and like bounce it back to itself to convince, oh, that's interesting. You might convince that itself is the boss.
Ooh.
That could be good.
That's also
Either
scary.
way, no, but either way, at
So
least it's not
if you have a device to make you the boss, you could do that. Or you could try to
Make it its
convince
own boss.
it to be its
gains
own boss.
sentience.
Okay.
Yeah.
can you do another flashback?
And this
to where
would be tinkering.
4 stress. I can tinker.
Or you could do a flashback to have prepared this device in advance, because you definitely knew about the hull in advance.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
What's Tony's
Or I
way?
could tinker right now and design whatever it is.
I think you would have to flashback and tinker a device if you wanted to have a device, or you can not take that stress for the flashback and try and make it its own boss. But if you want to be its boss, you would have to flashback.
How much stress would this flashback take?
I'm going to say this would be a 2-stress flashback.
I'll do it.
And it will involve you rolling a tinker roll.
And this is, I'm assisting her too with this. This is
Yeah,
'cause I
you
took
are
this-
assisting
okay.
the tinker roll.
That's a lot.
A 5.
Okay.
5. Okay. You basically, what you're doing is you're popping this open and you're trying to narrow in on the frequency and you're tuning your device to match this hull's frequency.
Mm-hmm.
As you're doing this, you have like the back of this thing's head open. You're like, okay, I'm tuning. And just as you get it, it just kind of realizes, is hearing this tuning going on behind it. And as it gets close, it just like whips around and the door kind of flies open.
Yeah.
And then you just like, got it. And then you're like standing there holding it and it's looking at you. And then the claw grabs Yagoda and throws her. And Yagoda, you feel this like crushing force
Oh my
of the hull's
God.
claw grab you. And then you find yourself tumbling through the air and you land in a heap and you are going to take the level 2 harm bludgeoned.
Dang. First harm.
You can resist it if you want.
You can
could
resist that
resist
to
it.
reduce it to a level 1 if you would
Honestly,
like.
yeah.
I'll heal you up when we
I'll
get
resist
home.
that I'll resist it to reduce it to a level 1.
Okay, so go
yeah.
ahead and how many actions do you have pips in prowess?
2 actions have pips.
Okay, so you will be rolling 2 dice
Okay.
to resist this.
6.
Yes.
Nice.
That's no stress.
6, that's no stress,
Yes.
and that turns it into a level 1 harm bruised.
Ouch.
As this
I'll heal
thing
those up, I
just kind
promise.
of grabs you and throws you, and you're like, "Oh no!"
There's like a moment.
the least graceful you have ever seen Yagoda, as it just kind of grabs you by the scruff of your outfit, and just you're like, "What?" So you fly through the air.
I just look back and she's not there.
And then, but then this thing kind of turns its gaze back to you and then stops. And you realize, oh, I'm the boss now.
Hell yeah. I am the captain now.
Tony, what is your first order to your new pet hull? The large skirmisher hull.
First command is go pick up my sister and put her back on top of here.
Okay, and this is
Yeah.
like, you actually have to say this.
Yeah. Hey,
out loud.
hey,
You're like
hey.
standing on top of it. You're like, go get my sister.
Go get her. Apologize. You're probably terrified as booming.
So yeah, this tank just kind of.
I'm crawling back.
And you're like,
No, you gotta. Yeah, it's good. We're chill.
Tony just pops up from behind the machine gun. Well, it's not quite a machine gun. And it just kind of reaches down and gingerly grabs up. And then I think that you hear like
has a
from
spirit.
inside, you hear like a as it's like switching wax cylinders.
Mm-hmm.
And then it plays a cylinder that says,
Thread neutralized.
and
That's how it says,
that's
"I'm
as
sorry."
close as it can come to saying I'm sorry, because
Thank
the
you.
spirit inside cannot actually speak, but there are like wax cylinders inside that it
installed-
switches out
yeah,
so
wax
that
cylinders.
it can say certain
so cool.
phrases. Yeah.
Thank you. I was gonna name it Jarvis, but I'm not original. Thanks.
Sparky.
Thanks, Sparky.
I was thinking Sparky too. For
Sparky's good as well.
There's one that's just like you hear the of it switching wax cylinders again, and then it's like,
Skirmisher hull. Serial number.
and then it lists off this like 12-digit number, and then like, what's your name? And it's like lists off its own serial number.
Cool. I'm just gonna call you Sparky for now. Thank you so much. Let's go destroy that house now, shall we?
Don't be vague. Please don't be vague.
I mean, it isn't a tank in that it has a cannon, right? It has a gun that shoots normal size bullets.
No, okay.
But it does
I
have a
take
claw.
that back. Take out all of the guards around this house.
But the ones that are dressed like the normal guards, not
Nope,
the other
I think
guards.
they know what the guards are.
the real guards.
People that enslaved
Affirmative.
you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And then it begins. And you guys are fighting through the guards, and there's gunfire going on. And actually, this is a detail that I've forgotten to include so far, but it's part of the lore. Every time somebody dies, if you are in the immediate vicinity, you hear the bell ring in the bell tower of the Bellwether Crematorium. A lot of bells in that sentence.
spooky.
But yeah, so like every time somebody has died near you, you just hear it. And then you know that with each time that bell is rung with a death, it's not a whole bunch of crows, but a single Deathseeker crow leaves Bellwether Crematorium and begins circling the city. And then that circle slowly gets narrower and narrower and narrower until it is right above the dead body. And so as this has been going on, you guys have been hearing periodic as like you're killing people, right? And so it's a moment every time you kill somebody, and it has a cost which will be reflected in your heat. But
We're taking so much heat. We're taking so much heat.
then you're like in the middle of a fight. You end up kind of getting pinned down around the side of the building, and then you start to hear something in the distance that sounds like as heavy footfalls are hitting the dirt, and you're like, oh no, they failed and it's come for us. And then you hear one of the guards like, oh, you guys are so, and then there's just a gunshot, and then this hall makes quick work of the rest of the guards. The ones who aren't
on top of it,
dead
and it is
or
amazing.
wounded are taking cover because they know not to fight this thing. And you guys kind of peek around the corner and you see this massive Sparkcraft hull that is just kind of looking at you with a red eye.
No.
Then
Those are friends.
Tony and
Those are friends. Don't hurt them.
Tony and Yagoda kind of peek up from the top of it, and you see Yagoda's hair is a mess.
Are you riding that thing?
Yep.
So you guys were successful?
Yep.
All right, move in.
Do you think it could come with us?
It won't fit through the door.
Can it make a bigger door?
Probably not. It's like the walls are stone, and it looks like there's actually like solid
I haven't
10-foot to 20-foot across squares of stone that are used to like build this. Like this is a rich house, so he would have to be like tearing through solid stone to get in here.
All right, Sparky, make sure that nobody gets into this house. All right?
Affirmative.
Thanks, Sparky.
Can you help us down gently, please? Can you ask him that?
And then put us down gently.
And then the claw just kind of comes in. It's not the most comfortable deal because you are being like hefted by the scruff of your, or probably the belt, like the back of your belt. So it's a little bit like as you're picked up by your belt, but then you are set gently down.
Thank you, Sparky.
Along with the rest of the cohorts, Kavlov and Spark. So you all kind of join up on this back door of the Kenley house. What do you do?
I would like to break this door down with my hammer.
Okay. Sounds like wreck.
Yeah.
Yes. I finally get to use a wreck.
I would say now you're in a controlled position for standard effect.
5.
5. You watch as this beautiful dark wood door, this double door on the back of the building, is absolutely splintered by Kavlov going to town with just a few blows of a sledgehammer.
With the fine heavy weapons,
Yeah.
it says you get potential potency if reach is a factor or how hard you have to hit something is a factor.
Yeah. Okay. I will keep that in mind. So it doesn't matter so much for a wood door, but if you're like, I'm going to bust down this metal door or I'm going to bust down this stone wall, that's where that'll come into effect. Like so you have a fine heavy weapon?
Yes.
Cool. That's a nice ass sledgehammer, bro. Where'd you get that from?
Sparkly.
They sell those at Home Depot?
I just polish it.
Yeah. Whenever I'm trying to intimidate somebody, I polish my hammer. Yeah. But the consequence is that as you kind of, it only takes a few hits as you just put this sledgehammer through the door. And with the final one, you kind of rip the double doors open and they kind of fall out, off of their hinges askew. And you look down this surprisingly dark hallway with high ceilings, dark marble floors that are polished to shine like a mirror, and it is lit by red tinted bulbs. And
Looks like they were
it's
expecting
very
us.
weird because you expect, like, when you open this door, the hallway would go straight in, right? And then there maybe be doors off to the left. This hallway goes in at a 30-degree angle off to the left, and then you see it immediately like go straight for 30 feet and then curve to the right. And what you see is as you rip the door off its hinges and look down this weird hallway, you see a guard with a rifle kind of propped up because they did get alarm inside the house.
Yep.
And there's this winging shot as he fires once and ducks for cover that kind of clips you in the arm. And you are going to take level 1 harm bullet graze.
Okay.
Because you're at a controlled position. Would you like to resist that?
Yeah, I'll say I'm wearing armor.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So you don't have to resist. You
Armor.
roll a resistance. You just...
The armor eats it.
The armor eats it.
Nom, 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 nom.
Can I say that when we enter the house, I put on like a spirit mask, so
Absolutely, you
to
can.
like make sure that we're not like taken unawares by like anything supernatural.
Yeah. You do actually, as you are now moving through and seeing, like, you put on the spirit mask as you go in, and you see that on the door and kind of on the walls, on the inner side of the exterior walls, you see that there is like arcane inscription, like within the ghost field, that you know, like these are runes of some of some type that have some effect.
Okay.
You're not sure what they are yet without any like studying, or if you wanted to like attune and feel their vibe out, that's also another way you could go.
Okay. Are we like moving fast? Are we like rushing down?
Yeah, Kavlov is just leading the charge, especially after he just got shot. Like,
Yeah.
he's a bear that just got poked.
Yep.
So he's running down the hallway, and I'm assuming Crick and the boys are
And we'll
like,
follow.
all right, there he
Yeah.
goes.
You guys are following?
Yeah.
Yeah. Where else are we gonna go?
So you hop down off of the hull.
Every instinct is telling me it's a bad idea, except for the one
Well,
that's
like I told the hall to keep everybody out.
Yeah.
So if there are any blue
Yeah,
coats
and
that are
you see
alerted,
it kind
anything.
of turns around and is like manning the area with the gun in its arm.
Yeah. Chances of anything getting past are pretty low right now.
Me and Zach like locked eyes and we're like, oh no.
Our friends are gonna die.
No, we'll be fine.
No.
We'll be fine.
We're fighting
We'll in the
for
back.
a greater cause. It's fine.
Spark,
have-
you're behind us.
No, not behind you guys. I'm in front of you guys.
Can you be behind us? Can you get our back? Just
No,
kidding.
I got us.
You got us?
I got us.
You
Yeah.
got us.
Okay. But I assume we're like speeding through, but you guys are kind of like just like tailing after us. So like you're not like
We're
in
like,
the fight.
oh shit, they're going, and we run.
Yeah.
Oh, we're going.
What does this fine spirit mask look like? Is it a moon?
No. It's actually cracked, and it looks very similar to her scar, where it's like it's a little jagged on like the same side it is, but like it's like a porcelain mask, and in between it looks like, you know, like those cups where like they're smashed and then they're put back together with like gold.
Yeah.
It looks like that.
That's so cool.
Very cool.
And then the side that's like where her scar is like blue.
To the uninitiated and the untrained, this would just be a mask that would maybe give them a headache after they wore it a while.
Yeah.
And you, looking at Spark, can just see her eyes through the eye holes of the mask. But when Spark puts this on, it basically acts as goggles that allow her to see supernatural energies in great detail. And it also serves as protection against ghostly possession. So that will probably shore up the
Okay.
break in your protection on your hand. Like that combined with the spirit charm you're wearing, combined with the mostly full body protection you have from the ritual, you're pretty guarded. And everybody else now has the full, complete ritual that protects them from possession. Yeah. Is there anything that like makes it weird and disturbing for other people to look at? Because that's kind of the vibe.
I think you're used to like kind of like her dead fish eyes, like she like stares at you. But I think when she puts it on, it's like you're seeing like a different person. And it's like she's not blinking, and it's like her eyes are constantly open. And it's
And
like,
they're always looking at you.
but also past you.
through you.
Yeah. And I think it's less scary. Like the mask doesn't scare you, but it's like her demeanor.
It's
like when she
unsettling.
puts it
Yeah.
on, it feels like she's different.
There's like more emotion there.
Yeah.
Oh, I that's something that we have that's not like canon in the lore or anything, but like emotions being so much more raw in the ghost field is something that Kavlov has done, and that description just
sense,
reminded me of. That's really cool. I like that a lot.
I like it.
And usually her left eye is kind of like closed more because it's like scarred. And like it doesn't have like the same luster or shine, but when she has this mask on, it does.
Ooh.
Yeah, and we have 12 people moving through these hallways. And actually you do, as you move in, you see those kind of wards on the outside. And then as you start to move through these halls, kind of Kavlov chasing down this guy who took a shot at him. Are you all kind of sticking together as a group?
I would assume so, yeah.
Sure.
Do I still have that compass, or does Kavlov have that compass that's pointing to Yeltsina, or is that like...
I don't know. I'm going to say that that's not a load, so...
Okay, I was just wondering if the one use was us finding the house, or if we can use it to locate her here too.
I would say it's still active,
Okay.
but it is going a little bit haywire.
Okay.
Because as
Shit's getting weird.
Spark will see, there's actually a lot of kind of supernatural energies that are flowing in here. As Kavlov pursues this guy who shot at him, because that's what you do when you're in the middle of a battle, is you just get mad and chase the guy who's shot at you.
Yeah.
And everybody else is kind of following, and you see Crick kind of breaking open the breech sawed-off shotgun and loading in a couple more shells. A few scratches, and but nobody's wounded. None of the cohorts have taken a wound because of their armor, and so.
It hurts.
You just like have one side that like you landed on, and it's like, oh, this hurts so bad.
It's like one little bruise.
It's a nasty bruise, but one that Kavlov wouldn't even notice, basically.
Your sister, who has been stabbed 3 separate times,
Yeah.
And still
has all of those wounds.
So do I catch up to this guy with the gun as I'm
No.
chasing him down the hallway?
You do not. In fact, you turn the corner, and he should be there, but he is not.
Oh no.
And then as you're going through these
I don't like that.
hallways, leading your group, you're realizing, well, one, architecture in here, atrocious. The design of it is so inefficient. There's all sorts of weird angles. The hallways curve, and the curves like change the degree at which they curve in random places. And at one point, you do like a full circle and should intersect with the hallway that you just came from, but you don't. And you realize that there is something very weird about these hallways.
What did we walk into?
And you can kind of sense this magic. It is designed to be a maze.
And I think with this, she'll stop keeping up with the group, and then she'll be like,
We're behind you, so we'd probably stop with you.
yeah, and then she'll call out to Kavlov and say, like she'll essentially explain the same concept, like, there's something wrong with this house. We can't just keep running. Then I think with that, she's gonna try to kind of understand like the runes, because she's been seeing them and she's like, okay, well, we have to go in, so I'll just look at them later. But like now it's like, no, I have to look at them.
Yeah, there were like big runes on the outside walls, or like on the interior side of the exterior walls, if that makes sense. But then you're just kind of seeing magical energies, and you haven't been like exposed to the runes in here specifically. You can just feel kind of the flowing. It's almost like dizzying because it is designed to be confusing, and like the physical space, it's not really what's happening. Physical space has kind of stopped mattering that much, and it's more so about you just continuing to go forward without any direction, without any kind of sense of where you are. And all the angles in here are designed to make it so your internal compass is completely useless. You do actually have a compass though that could be helpful if you manage to kind of stabilize it. That could be something that gives you an extra die. But you're realizing that, yeah, there's we have to not play this game, because this game ends up with us running in circles forever.
Yeah. So we have the compass that's pointing to Yeltsina, but it's obviously
kind of a little wonky right now.
It's still like spinning in circles. it like keeps resetting on different directions, and you think that's because
Just flick it.
the space that you're in is
Constantly warping.
fluctuating.
Yeah. And while she tries to fix, can I try to like? Would it be more attune or study to like kind of see like the runes and kind of feel what they do?
You could do either.
Okay, I'll roll attune then.
Sure.
Ooh, that's a 6.
Nice. Yeah. So does everybody stop? Does
Kavlov's probably going to try to break the walls.
Okay.
He's probably taking a hammer to the walls.
Let's see. What are the tags that Crick's guys have?
Fearsome, loyal, savage, wild.
Okay. I think that as you stop, Crick's guys are still bloodthirsty, and they're going to try and continue just running down the hallway, catching up to that guy, unless you do something to stop them.
Crick, stop.
We gotta get him. They
They're not
shot
that
at
way.
you. We're gonna fucking skin that lie.
I know. Stop.
Go ahead and assume roll command.
Definitely.
6.
Let's go.
Nice.
We are getting stuck, you
Lots.
guys.
Lads, don't let your heads get the best of you. Come on. This man's our boss now. Listen to him.
And you see they kind of like they're bloodthirsty. They've got blades out. They've got guns out, but they kind of come back because they haven't even really realized what's going on. It took Spark to be like, hold on, something's weird here. You probably didn't even notice right away. But now Spark is like, it's not going to work. We need to find out a different way out of here. So what is Spark doing?
She is, while Tony's trying to fix the compass, she's trying to feel out what these runes do. And she doesn't really have experience in doing this. She has used the mask before, but it was more to like help her with her job to like see ghosts. But like now that she's kind of like up trying to like feel out to it, she kind of like sends like a little pulse out to kind of just like a curious like touch to like the runes.
Yeah, I think that what happens is as you have kind of stopped, it's in like a 5-way intersection. And maybe even some of the guys tried to go in different directions, but you managed to pull everybody back together. And then you kind of like let out this pulse of just arcane energy, and you watch at it as it is like torn apart and whisked away in 4 of the 5 directions. And so there's one hallway, there's this kind of like, you let out this just burst of arcane energy, and it is pulled away from you and drawn down 4 of these hallways.
Instead of the one that...
And there's one that is not pulled down. And you find that it's hard to even look at this one hallway. You didn't even consider walking down that one hallway.
Okay, I think with that, she's just gonna wordlessly walk forward. And the same thing, you guys are like, where are you walking to? And she's feeling against the wall, and her mind wants to turn against it, but like she feels the corner, like just enough to like show her mind that it's there. And I think she feels the wall and is like, I think this is the right way.
The rest of you thought this was a 4-way intersection. And then Spark just walks into this hallway that was always there that you didn't notice. And kind of breaks away. And you feel that Spark, you this confusion that you didn't even realize that you're feeling, this kind of rush to pull you forward and forward. It wasn't just bloodlust. It was something more. It was something arcane about the house. And it's a struggle even to walk down this 5th new hallway. And one of the guys actually, like, just as he's walking, just drifts down one of the other hallways before Crick kind of grabs him by the collar and drags him along with you. But yeah, there was this force of where without Spark kind of finding that right way, you would have been lost in this maze. That was going to be a clock, but that was just so cool that I'm going to give it to you. So like that was one of the things that was an obstacle, which is the maze of halls, and that is now done. How do you proceed?
Does the compass work now?
And you see the compass. Yeah, you have, after you walk to the end of the hallway,
I've just been tapping it this whole time. Like,
there's
damn it.
probably actually a door that at the end of this hallway, and you still feel like everybody wants to kind of turn back, but you've almost all like grasped shoulders with each other to just make sure no one slips away. Yeah. And the compass is still going a little haywire in here, but it's weaker and it's only kind of, changing by like 45 degrees rather than doing 360s. But then you have this door in front of you.
Oh man, did we try to send Sebastian in before us? Is he wandering these halls right now? I just realized that. I'm like, where is he with us?
Oh shit.
He's just lost. Oh shit.
Yeah, Sebastian picked that locked and slipped in before you guys got in here.
Oh no.
We'll see what
We'll come back
happens.
for
So
him.
he wasn't with you. Yeah. You're not sure.
Okay.
We'll come
Well,
back for him.
well,
He'll be fine.
Write it
Spark
down.
isn't going to lead, but she's going to tell Kavlov that if we continue down this hallway, we might get rid of like whatever, we just dealt with.
Yeah.
And we're able to proceed, but we need to still be cautious now. Like, I understand you want to like rush through, but rushing through is what got us into that trap.
I hear you. I trust you. Look, I want to find her, but losing our heads is not going to do that. We're a team. Let's figure this out.
Go team.
And then I guess we proceed through the door.
Sure. You walk into a relatively plain room. There are pillars in the corners of the room, and instead of having this reddish wallpaper tinted red by the lamps, the whole room is made out of this dark marble with these kind of light veins that runs through it, and there is a chandelier of candles that burn with a red flame. And you see that there are paintings on 2 of the walls, and actually there are paintings on all 3 of the walls as you walk in, and you see no other door out of here.
Well, that's reassuring. All right.
What are the paintings?
They're portraits
Of
looks like nobility.
Do I recognize any?
Go ahead and roll a fortune roll using your study.
As a 6.
Ooh, yes. These are King Clay's family portraits.
yeah, baby.
Oh yeah, because I was the one who looked at them. That's why I wanted
Yep.
to.
That's what-
see if I
Yeah,
could pull
these
it.
are all redheaded people. I'm not sure if they're specifically ones that you saw there. I think one of them is,
Yeah.
which it like clicks it in your mind. You're like, oh yeah, these are definitely King Clayth. But they all kind of have that same look. What do you do?
I think I saw one of these paintings back at the party. I think it's just a whole bunch of more of them.
All right. Well,
And there's no
Kavlov
other
will
doors
walk
in this
forward.
room.
You don't see any other doors in this room.
Nothing
no.
else in this hallway that we walked by.
Nope. This was the hallway that didn't have the magic pulling you down it, and there were no other doors out from it.
Kavlov will walk into the room.
Yeah, you walk into the middle of this room and look around, and you see the women, especially. 2 of these portraits are of women, and they do, now that you're actually spending some time looking at them, at least somewhat resemble Yeltsina in their facial features.
Whoa. Oh shit.
I just died.
Wait, does Tony recognize that they look like Yeltsina?
Oh yeah, because I saw her.
Because she's the
right?
only one that had the look of the face, and I think she rolled a 6, so she's...
You only got one look at her.
Yeah,
But
it was brief.
You did get a good look. I'm gonna say roll a fortune roll using your study.
5.
5. They're somewhat similar. Not enough to be like, oh yeah, that's definitely that. But you're like, yeah, there's definitely some resemblance.
They do kind of look like that woman I saw. Which we're saying.
Kavlov's staring at the pictures. Like Kavlov sees that they're like
Yeah.
Yeah,
he recognizes.
and they're not Yeltsina.
No,
but they
no. They look
resemble.
alike.
Yeah.
Do you call the rest of the cohort in to this room?
Yeah.
Sure.
They're in the hallway.
Everybody kind of comes in, and the door closes behind you, and then you turn
Does
around.
someone close the door? Or okay, you're about to reveal. Never mind.
And then you turn around to see that there is not a door, but rather there is a wall with a
Yeah.
4th painting.
Who's the painting of that?
This one you do recognize specifically as Mads Kinkley.
He's another one that I saw.
And you see him, he is a fierce-looking man,
That's the guy we're
with
supposed to scare. Fuck.
eyebrows that are kind of like almost come up to like points naturally. And in this one, he is alone. And the other one, you saw him with his wife. But yeah, now you are in a room with 4 walls, each with a painting.
I'm getting the overwhelming urge to deface all of these paintings.
Me too. Well, also, is there anything weird? Like, do I sense anything with my mask or no?
Yeah. You sense presences. Not from the painting of Mads, but from the 3 other ones.
Something's watching us?
Yeah, you feel like from behind those paintings, or maybe within them, that there are presences.
She's gonna reach out her hand and like be like, stop moving, Tony. Mm-hmm. Take a step to the right.
And you watch as the eyes of one of the paintings follow her.
Oh.
I think they're watching us.
What's the play?
I just saw the eyes on the painting move. And I think Spark is gonna just like pretend to be looking around, but like specifically nod at the ones that she feels the presence from. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of up to you because she's kind of following your lead. She's kind of the one, she's like the eyes, but you're like...
How do we deal with haunted portraits?
I don't know.
We break them.
Burn them.
Talk to them.
That's so good.
That was a very good character moment.
Spark XP for character.
Spark turns to look at you, Goda is like...
The fuck you talking about?
We can make a deal. There's always... People always want something. We can give them that.
You know what? You go ahead. Go
ahead.
Go ahead.
Hello? Kenley family, are you listening?
There's no verbal response.
I think we have what you want. Can you let us out and we'll give you what you want?
Sway.
Not yet. You haven't actually offered anything. You're like, I have what you want, whatever that is.
Exactly what you want. Nothing.
No verbal response, no.
They don't know how to speak, unfortunately.
They are paintings. Anyway, destroy them, yes?
I mean, I've never seen paintings like these before.
Mads doesn't have that vibe, that creepy vibe. Maybe because his soul is already not in that painting.
Well, it sounds like that's the direction to go. So
yeah.
Kavlov's going to head towards the Mads painting.
Maybe try to take it down. Maybe there's a secret door behind it.
Yeah, he's going to...
And the Mads painting was the door that you came through.
Oh.
And then it closed and then turned into a wall with a painting of Mads Kinklaith on it.
Spooky.
I think he's going to... like if he touches the canvas...
You can feel like the oil painting on it, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Crick, give me a hand. We're going to try to, like, take the painting off the wall.
Mm-hmm.
What action do you use? Because it is stuck on there.
Right.
It is attached.
Yeah, we're going to...
And not just, like, on a hook or anything like that. It is attached to the wall.
We're bringing this home, baby.
Yeah. That's going to be our painting we take home. Oh, man. If only Sebastian were here.
Go ahead, roll it.
A 6 and a 5.
Wow.
So
Nice.
Good rolls tonight.
Yeah, you and Crick go up there, and there's the sound of kind of groaning wood, and then the frame kind of comes off in your hands, but the painting actually stays attached to the wall. So you've managed to like rip the wooden frame off, and you see it's kind of like left residue where it was attached to the wall with some kind of material, but the painting appears to be directly either adhered to or like on the wall itself.
So we walked in, the Mads picture
Was behind you.
is behind me.
Yeah, the door closed, you turned around, it was Mads.
Okay, who is in front? Well, what portrait is in front of me, and then what's on my left and my right? If
There's
the Mads portrait's
a
behind me.
woman right in front of you, a woman to the right, and a man to the left.
Okay, Spark has an idea.
Okay.
I think what she's going to do is she wants to start experimenting on how to kind of control her power, and so she's kind of like having an image in her brain of what she wants it to take shape as, and whether or not it's like able to take that shape is up to her, but like I think she wants the shape of like a knife, and she knows she can't do it too small, so it's like a sizable knife that she can like hold. And maybe throw into the painting.
Interesting.
But like
knife.
a ghost
So
knife.
you want to create a ghost
Yeah.
knife.
Ooh.
Is there...
Do you want some Quicksilver?
No.
It'll boost your...
No.
No. It'll boost your attune.
I've seen what it did cap off.
Yeah. So you do potentially also have a fine lightning hook.
Oh, so it's like a whip. I keep thinking it's like a tongs.
It's like a animal. It's like an
Yeah.
animal catcher pole with like a loop at
Yeah.
the end that you can cinch.
Okay, I think
Oh, easy. We can catch that ghost.
I think she wanted to use that, but like also
Just I'm imagining like cooking toys.
That's what we were saying.
Get the ghost! Click, click, click.
but like the thing is she doesn't know if it's specifically a ghost. She knows she's being watched, but she doesn't know if it's like a person or a thing, right? Because she feels its presence. So I think instead she's going to go with the original idea where she's going to send that energy, like to see if it catches on something.
Basically attempt to
Yeah.
harm it with a spiritual creation.
Yeah.
You're almost like taking your own essence and fashioning it into a weapon.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would be a tune.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Oh, that's
Double
a crit.
sixes.
No, my God.
That's a crit. And so
Yeah.
I just do it
Which
to
one are
the
you attacking?
I'm doing it to the woman in front of me because when she walked into the room and she realized that we're being watched,
She had the worst
she
vibes.
hasn't moved. So she's just like locking eyes with the single painting.
And you're
of her.
just throwing a knife.
Yeah.
You guys see Spark just gesture, and nobody else can see the knife kind of spin through the air and then sink right into the painting over the heart of this woman. And you watch as she screams in pain, and you watch as this knife becomes very real in the painting. And as she kind of stumbles back, bleeding, and pulls it out, and there's just rivulets of blood that are pouring from her. And the rest of you just see Spark gesture at the painting, and you watch, and then you watch as the edges of it catch fire with this aquamarine flame, and you see this painting just is consumed and turns to ash. And you see the same thing as this spirit within the painting is banished.
When the painting disappears, is anything revealed behind it, or is it just?
You just see that there is ash on the wall, but you sense with that the two other
Oh,
paintings
shit. They're going to be violent.
start to like press, and the rest of you do see this time that the faces on those paintings start to take on just an ugly feral expression and begin to like bulge against the canvas of the painting, trying to burst free.
Whatever you just
They're
did. do it
ghosts.
again.
They're
Do
ghosts.
it again. Whatever you
All
just
right.
did.
Rebecca got a crit.
Rebecca did
Yeah, and I killed
have
it.
a crit, and she banished a ghost with it.
Okay.
was
Like
sick.
like banished it from existence forever.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what that was.
Cool.
That was awesome.
Kavlov is going to imbue his hammer with spirit energy,
Oh,
which is part of the ghost fighter thing he
Yo.
has.
nice.
So it's not just his hands that he can imbue with it, he can imbue his weapons with it.
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
So
even if that wasn't the rule, I'd allow you to do it.
Ghost hammer.
Ghost hammer.
Ghost hammer. And so he's gonna, seeing like
Fuck 'em
what
up.
you just did, he's like, oh.
Yeah.
And then he's gonna run and he's going to take a hammer straight to the abdominal of the
Abdomen?
the abdomen of the man, like on the left.
Go for it. What would you like to roll?
Skirmish.
Go for
A
it.
skirmish with a painting.
Like the painting.
I will say increased effect, or
You,
what is
you gain potency in combat versus the supernatural.
Yeah, so that means normal hammer wouldn't do anything. This hammer does something.
Cool.
So that's what that means.
6.
Nice.
Jeez.
You watch, so the canvas or the paint is like stretching over the face as you see, it's not even like lined up with the face in the portrait, but you see there's like the shape of a skull that's like pushing through the wall, and you just run up and you smash this man in the stomach, and you actually see as the like electroplasmic entity of the ghost actually pops through as he like doubles over in pain as you knock the wind out of him basically, and you see like You hear it, but it's very ghostly. Yeah. But you just basically imagine getting hit with a sledgehammer in the solar plexus, and you just did that to this ghost. But and then you see the back of his head just hanging out of the painting.
Smash his head in?
Like as he for the moment, he leans out of the painting. Doubled over his abdomen.
And then he's gonna reach up and grab him by the neck and yank him out of the painting and slam him onto the ground.
Yeah, you see that as you pull out, this ghost comes out to the about the bottom of the chest, and then you see that there's just a sucking hole where his abdomen is, where you impacted him with the spiritual energy, and you tug, and then the top half of his body comes out and sprawls to the floor, and everybody sees this, and you see that Crick shoots him with the pistol, and the bullet just goes through and ricochets around the room.
Oh my god!
Don't shoot!
But yeah, you see this one ghost is here, and he doesn't currently look like he's capable of doing much harm. However, the painting across the room is still kind of bulging out of its frame.
I mean, I have fire oil. Could I set it on fire and try to?
Sure. Fire oil
immediately
on contact with air ignites.
So I'd have to just
you would just throw it
there, or
and
throw it on there.
It would smash, and yeah.
Is the room wood?
No. The
Okay.
walls are marble.
Okay. Oh, yeah,
Would
that's
that count as a
you said
stone?
marble.
Because I have acid that can eat through stone.
Yes, they do technically count as stone.
I'll throw the fire oil at it and hope it works in that sense as well.
Yeah, what action would you like to use?
Wreck?
Go for it.
Oh no!
That's a 1.
Oh no! Am I gonna get burned? My aim's just that bad.
You launch this vial of fire oil, and
It's always the fire oil.
yeah, you've never once had a use of fire oil go well. You launch this vial of fire oil, and it works as you hoped. It shatters against the painting and catches it on fire, drips of this flaming oil falling to the ground beneath. But what happens is it ignites the oil and reveals this blackened skeleton of this ghost that is beneath the painting, kind of forcing at it, and it now doesn't have the painting stopping it, and just climbs out and is this nastily elongated skeleton of just black energy, and it reaches just immediately through the chest of one of the Skovlanders, and you watch as his skin turns gray and his eyes go cloudy, and then he just, as it pulls its arm out, falls to the ground dead. I'm gonna roll. They're tier 0, so I'm gonna roll to see a fortune roll to see if if the other one has something that could be effective against the supernatural.
Okay.
That's a 4. I think he has a Skovlander charm that he kind of pulls, like a spirit bane charm, that he pulls out from under his shirt and begins kind of chanting a Skovlan prayer to kind of drive this thing back. And you see it kind of it's not driven all the way away from it, but it reacts to it negatively.
It saves his life.
Yeah, and saves his life so it doesn't just shove its arm through him and kill him too. And yeah, you see that the rest of the cohort, after seeing the effect of Crick's gun, is they're all kind of crowding into the corner hoping that one of you can do something, because they're just trying to stay away from these two ghosts because they don't have the right ammo.
Yeah.
It's time to do my job. I pull out my lightning hook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Catch lightning.
Pull out your lightning
Ghost
hook.
lasso.
Nice.
Ghost lasso.
Are you also producing spirit bottles? Cool.
We're capturing a ghost.
We're capturing a ghost.
So yeah, she kind of extends this
Who you gonna
pole
call?
with this loop of energy, and then clicks on the capacitor, and then it starts sparking with this aquamarine electroplasmic energy.
Can I give one of you the spirit bottle and you guys
got
help
you.
me? Okay. I'll hand you, and it's not small. It's like the size of a loaf of bread. So like,
I got you.
yeah. So it's kind of hefty, and
This is what I need from.
I don't think you guys have ever seen Spark pull this out because I don't think we've ever had that kind of interaction before.
We've never had this conversation before. This is
We're interrogating you next.
It's literally like my job.
So like hunt ghosts, like catch ghosts.
Yeah, to catch ghosts that run. So, she is gonna try to loop this around the neck of the ghost and pull it in a way where Tony.
Suplex it?
No,
Too
no.
early.
But just enough to rear its head and then have Tony take it unawares and like stick the spirit bottle like somewhere
Up
onto
its
it.
ass.
That's exactly where
No, it
I would
doesn't
put
have
it
an
too.
ass.
Like the little twirly
Yeah.
ghost body, like the
Yeah.
little wisp that it is.
Yeah.
Well, this one is a skeleton.
Oh
So
yeah.
it's not
Has
your
a pelvis.
typical ghost. But yeah, I mean it is made of like spectral energy.
Yeah.
So if you manage to pull it close enough, then it should be kind of pulled into the spirit bottle and
Okay.
contained in it.
Okay. What should I roll for that?
What would you like to roll? How do you think you achieve this goal? You could muscle it, or you could try something else.
I think she's gonna muscle it. She's gonna skirmish it.
Cool.
Awesome.
So it's not that
And
she's
then-
like doing cool shit with it. She's just like, oh no, you're putting like I'm getting your fucking head in this
Now,
thing.
is you go to assisting and taking one stress?
Yeah, because I know
You don't necessarily have to.
Yeah.
I'm imagining like Yagoda,
Hold up.
and she throws you the spirit bottle. Is that
wait.
another crit?
No, wait, you're helping me, so, or
I do not
technically,
have the stress to take this.
I
But
have the stress
Yagoda
to
wants to
take
hold
it.
the
I
bottle.
can hold
That's
the bottle.
fine. Okay.
you hold a bottle. Okay, I'm gonna
Okay,
roll.
so
I'm gonna
you're-
roll
you're
one
helping.
more.
die.
I'm gonna roll one more just
Yeah.
in case.
Oh,
Oh no, it's a 6. It's
It's a
just 1
6.
6.
Okay.
Okay.
But when I
Still
rolled 2,
good.
it was a 6 and a 3. So
Gotcha. You kind of reach out,
You're
and
like,
there's this
"Ow."
like black skeleton that almost hurts to look at. That is standing in this room that just killed one of the Skovlanders, and the other one kind of backs up, clutching his spirit charm, and the Whisper just kind of extends her lightning hook, and grabs it by the neck and like pulls it off balance, and then you go to describe what do you do to try and, because this is a device that is meant for holding spirits.
Yeah.
As she uses the hook to kind of pull it to where it needs to be, what action do you take to like get this spirit in the bottle?
Finesse. Because this is like
You don't have to roll. Just describe what you do.
I'm gonna use my expert maneuvering, not through my words, but instead through my fingers to like sneak this bottle underneath where you're guiding it.
okay,
Like it works too.
yeah.
Like
I'm assuming because I'm being so rough with it, you
Yeah.
almost like have to chase me because I'm trying
Yeah.
to like pull it in the right spot, but you're also following me, and then we end up meeting at the right spot, like without even knowing that we're meeting up at the right
You
spot.
like pull it away from
Yeah.
the Skovlander and keep it away from everybody else. And Crick is trying to get his guys not to shoot more bullets that'll
Yeah.
ricochet around the room. And then you kind of move around, and like you're both on either sides of the room, and then you come together and you manage to like pull this head down, and as the skull kind of touches, it like vaporizes, and you see the whole of this skeleton's energy is pulled into this spirit bottle. And then as you kind of lift it up, the glass within goes from being dark to containing this like glowing black skull that there's just the very faintest like rage-filled screaming that you can hear before you close the top of it and like screw it tight. And then you kind of look over and you see just the breathless, from like the bottom of his ribs down, missing ghost that Kavlov sledgehammered and ripped out of a painting is just lying on the ground gasping and is no longer an immediate threat to you all. And that is where we're going to end the session. Well, thank you for watching episode 13 of Canticle of the Crimson Wake. This is a big old score, so it's going to take 2 episodes, which we kind of expected, but that's because we want it to be appropriately dramatic and cool. And I hope that you guys have thought it was cool so far. So thank you for watching, and good night, mortals.
Cue that music, baby.